and
So
much
what
better
got
for
you
me.
into fashion? If you look
That,
at like
well,
your Johnny's Instagram, you're wearing like these really nice suits and stuff. How did you get into fashion?
so yeah, so I started at this job and I had to wear suits every day. That
Okay.
was just the culture of the company, and I had never been in an organization that had required that. In the military, right, you have your uniforms, you take care of your uniforms, and I always kept my stuff tailored and fitted well,
Okay.
but I didn't like, you know, go find the best fabrics. And it was funny, I actually took a fashion dynamics class in high school. And so I kind of knew about some of the like how brands worked, how clothes were made, and
Hmm.
like some of the business process behind some of that stuff. But I just never really gotten invested in brands. And even as a little kid, like I didn't really like logos. I never was a fan of that kind of stuff. So I'd kind of done all these like little subtle things, and I could put together outfits and never had a problem with color. So when I
Okay.
just started in the medium of suits, right, you get a couple of cheap suits, and then I wanted to get them tailored better. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm spending a lot on tailoring. Where can I just find better clothes to begin with? And then I'm
Okay.
learning, okay, what kind of fabric is this? How is it made? Where, and just kind of really zeroing in on the types of fabrics that I'm putting on my body, and then the type of fit that I'm looking for, and just started developing a lot of different relationships. And then my wardrobe started getting better, and then I get stopped on the street by people saying like, hey, I love your stuff, and would like to know where you got it, and this, that, and the other, and started kind of consulting on my own, and helping people in that way. And then I started designing suits through a friend of mine's brand as well. So it just kind of went the full scale very, very quickly, and even going as far as to like get involved in Fashion Group International, which is not a local group. There's actually, it's a worldwide organization, and just seeing like different parts of the fashion community, from makers to people that are kind of doing the jewelry side of the house, and just kind of learning from any and all environments and people, right? So
Really?
it kind of started off very organically for me, and then just through, I'm a really big component of like, I don't like to buy everything brand new. I love
Okay.
getting vintage pieces. So anytime I can go to a consignment shop or something like that, I mean, you can get amazing pieces that are like what I would say in the 85% quality range, right? You might have a little nit here or a little,
Yeah.
imperfection. But I think that type of character is, ultimately just something to be revered, right? As opposed to like, oh, I'm not going to wear that. So you can get,
Right.
highly subdued prices in that case, and have these still high. I mean, silk is still silk 60 years later, right?
Hmm.
So it's once I started embracing that and kind of learning more about the lineage of certain fashion houses and things like that, I started having a lot more fun and started finding, a lot more things that I would not have thought of beforehand.
Interesting. How much of fashion is confidence?
Mm. I think that's an interesting question, because it's I would argue that it's everything in that
Mm.
sense, because I actually look at, so there are things that, and this is something I would tell my clients as well, right? Just because something looks a certain way on me does not mean that I would have that be for you, right?
Hmm.
And um, so when you're talking about the fit and how things fit, right? So we'll just take the fit for a second. There's oversized, and then there's like very tailored
Mm.
stuff, right? Some people like the real thing in suits that you look on Instagram right now, like everybody's wearing a super small t-shirt, and they got big muscles, and
Yeah.
the suit is tailored just as tight as a normal sweatshirt would be, right? Whereas when you kind of look at maybe an older guy is going to have a bit of a looser fit, and kind of like space in the sleeves and whatnot, and the suit still fits them, right?
Hmm.
But it's tailored differently, versus like you have some fashion forward looks where, and you generally see this more on the runway, or people like Kim Kardashian, or Kylie Jenner, people like that, where they have severely oversized garments that are like inches bigger than they're supposed to be, and it's just cut differently so that it looks different, right? And I think either way you cut it, it takes confidence to look at those things and say, that's what I want on my body, and that's how I'm gonna, represent myself to the world. And so I think when you try to take that on to an everyday status of like, okay, what type of style am I really comfortable in every day? Like, hey, I've got an everyday sweater on right now. Like, if I'm gonna step out the door, I'm gonna grab a coat, I'm gonna grab a scarf. I'm not gonna change an outfit, right? And I think if you are getting dressed up to go somewhere is a lot different than when you're just getting dressed for yourself. So if you can figure out what makes you confident when you're getting dressed for yourself, and then you're able to put yourself in spaces, that whether you want to be there or not, and you're still comfortable being yourself, then you've reached that like peak style confidence.
Right? Yeah, that goes a long way.
Yeah, it does.
So are you guys still working on it? But like COVID, I know people aren't really going out or.
Right. Yeah, I have definitely stopped designing suits at the beginning of the year. I got a job that I'm very excited to be doing what I'm doing now, and I wanted to put more focus into that. So I've decided to kind of put that to the side. I still have a love and passion for it. I literally just went vintage shopping yesterday and hit up my tailor yesterday for a couple of pieces that I found. So it's still very much a part of my life. And even though, we're inside, I'm still investing in my wardrobe. But no, I've kind of stopped designing things just because it's difficult to call on people right now and say, hey, do you want to buy a suit? And it's like, well, I'm in my PJs and have been all week. It's like, me too, man. Like, I get it, right? And I mean, who knows how long we're going to be here? Who knows where things are going to be in a year from now? But I think just where I'm at in my life, like, and this opportunity that kind of landed on my lap, like, I wanted to put all my eggs into that basket for a little bit. And I mean, I'll still be adding to my wardrobe, you know what I mean? So there'll be things that will come out in the next few years, and I'll eventually put myself back into the fashion world in my own way. But for right now, I'm not actively doing anything that's like a brand related or anything like that.